why are you angry? Are you angry at chupacabras? Yes. Are you angry because you own a fupa?
Are you mad at my Latino culture, sir?
Right. Exactly.
Are you hating on Latins? Let us in. All right, here we go. Getting ready here. All right, let's do it. Welcome to the Sofa Kingdom podcast with your hosts, Nelson.
Ian.
Ed. We are here. We're doing our thing. It's been torrential raining in South Florida for like the last week and a half.
Yeah, we're underwater.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was an alligator on my front patio this morning. But it was well fed. Took out the neighbor's dog, so I really don't have anything to worry about.
I mean, able to get gas again, so, you know.
Yes, that's another fucking odd thing out of nowhere. Like, no gas because of a little flooding. I'm like,
and nobody was talking about it either.
How is this a thing? Like, I thought we are prepared for it.
And it was multiple days.
It really was.
It really was the whole week. Yeah. Good luck getting gas.
Yeah.
Well, the last time we recorded, I was about to text you guys, hey, may have to reschedule. I don't have enough fucking gas to get to you guys. And every single station is out.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I got lucky. I found like a 7-Eleven that will end up having gas on the way to work. I was like, cool.
I was lucky. I got gas that evening before all the rain started. My car's very efficient.
Yeah, there you go.
Very nice.
That's the only reason why it worked out for me.
Same. I own a Honda Civic, so yeah,
nice,
good.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, if I would have had my Mustang still, I probably would have had enough gas for like
not so much,
a day's work.
It would have been a serious problem.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But we're back to semi-normal Florida crazy.
Yep.
Which is still, better than your typical crazy.
Florida normal isn't like good though.
No.
You know what I mean?
We're kind of like shunned on by other states, right?
Well, I think Florida normal will be like a crisis in another state.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, here's the thing. For the way that crimes is reported, that's where Florida man comes from. So they decided to just make it all public. So anything that's in the interest to the public gets put out publicly. So whenever someone does something stupid, it gets put out. And not everywhere else does that. And thus, Florida man was born. Because whenever time something happens, it gets put out automatically. You don't have to go looking for it. There is an instantaneous press release of information to anyone who asks.
So I think every other state, by law, should report the same way Florida does. Mm-hmm. This way, we can see really who is the top crazy. Still think Florida is going to be in the lead by far.
It's hot out here, and the heat does things.
Yeah, but the same could be said about
running, California, Texas,
New York. There's a lot of crazy in New York. We have a lot of subway systems.
Jersey.
Jersey. You know that New Jersey was voted to have the most beautiful people in the United States?
That I want to see where
was the vote done in Jersey?
Probably, yeah. It was probably written by somebody from Jersey, voted on by all Jersey judges.
I never met anyone from Jersey I wanted to sleep with.
I mean,
my whole life, never.
You have seen Jersey Shore, right?
I have.
We've all seen Snooki.
None of them.
No, thank
none
you.
of them. No,
not an appealing person in the bunch.
Like you ever just look at someone and you can tell their pussy stinks
from a distance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you can confirm it from a distance. I mean, it depends. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
No one on the Jersey Shore. No, thank you.
Is that a good reason enough to cross the street? Right.
I don't think New Jersey is winning anything when it comes to attractive.
No. If I had to guess,
I mean, not to try to piss you off. You're from Jersey. I'm just saying, like.
No, you're just not Florida. I would say Florida would have to be in the top contention for best, like, good-looking people, and it's not because the three of us.
No.
Nothing to do with the three of us in this room, but. I would say
Miami's
got Orlando, right? Yeah. Like we have a couple of hot spots where
it's
the
hot
beautiful people
all year round. Yeah, it's beach weather all year round, and people tend to want to look like they're ready for the beach.
Okay, so in the inverse, what states would have the ugliest people? Well, I would
Alaska,
Alabama. right?
Oh,
Alabama comes to mind, right? The Alabama Slammer, like I don't
They're
know.
bad. They're bad with everything. Like
But Alaska?
education.
Pretty grisly, hairy people, I would say, right?
Alaska just has some wild people. Like if you want to think like, what's the last frontier especially in our country? What's the last frontier? It's Alaska.
Yeah.
Those people are like, I mean, you gotta fly, but then get in a vehicle, and then
You have to be prepared to be self-sufficient.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
are a
hard-
hardy people.
It's hard to survive up there.
Yeah. Have you
Like-
ever watched any of those shows? Like
Oh, they're fantastic.
man, those people are a different breed, and good for them.
they
They're
get
willing to do it.
They get the 30 days a night up there. They get the whole month of darkness. Like,
Oh,
which in
yeah.
itself is.
They got vampire season. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, fuck that. I ain't no way in hell. I ain't going anywhere where I have to tolerate darkness for a month.
It's gotta fuck with you mentally too, right? Like just 30 straight days of night.
The countries that have that 30 days a night in Europe, they have like the highest suicide
Yeah,
rates.
your circadian rhythm is thrown out of whack.
Yeah.
No sunlight.
Yeah.
That whole no sunlight thing is really bad for you. Just for your hormones, you need sunlight. Your body requires it to produce certain hormones and vitamins in your body.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it weird though? Like around the world, there are these anomalies. There are these weird places where things like that happen. Like that Japanese, I believe it is, Japanese forest where people go to commit suicide.
Aokigahara.
The suicide forest.
Right. Like, isn't that just wild that people they gravitate to this one area and they're like, this seems like a valid place to kill myself.
Most haunted place in Japan. So.
Yeah, man. And it's crazy because the Japanese are known for being a very honorable, disciplined people. But then there is the whole other side to their culture.
Yeah, they're very spiritual.
A lot of that
culture.
suicide is because of dishonor.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can't face like a lot of them. Not to bring everything down.
Yeah.
But, like, they
No, we're talking about suicide. It doesn't get any much downer.
I mean, Logan Paul found that out the hard way on his his little video vlog show that he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
He went to Okigahara, hoping to videotape something. I mean, I don't know why you would go to the suicide
And
forest.
he found it.
And he found suicide.
And instead of being respectful, he started playing games, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
No, it was.
He,
Now-
he filmed the body and didn't think it through.
Now, tossing Pokeballs to people, trying to catch them,
It's funny.
it might be fun. It's some of it, but then it's like, ooh, don't throw it at the cops.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Although
mean-
the cops in Japan are a lot friendlier.
Or do it.
Japan has like a 99% conviction rating on arrests.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Do you know how you get to 99%?
Not by throwing Pokemon balls.
By guaranteeing that you get a confession.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, they're gonna make you talk.
Oh, they're gonna beat your ass in a room.
Oh, with no camera. There's
Do
not.
you
a
think
camera
they
in
use
there.
wet noodles? I'm just.
Remember the kendo sticks from wrestling?
Oh yeah,
That's probably what it is.
I could see
They're
that.
probably just beating the ever-loving fuck out of you for hours.
I've been actually watching this Vice series about wrestlers and the Golden Age wrestlers. Like, and I really enjoyed it. Like,
Right.
It's called like The Dark Side of the Ring.
I love that show. That show
Holy
is so good.
shit.
The stories that are on there, it's so damn good.
Man, and so real. Like, and you don't know, like, some of the stories, like Jake the Snake Roberts, his childhood was fucked.
Oh,
bro.
a lot of them were. A lot of them had terrible backgrounds. That's what led them to wrestling.
You generally don't take up the circus life because you had a happy childhood.
Usually not.
And their work life to home life ratio is outrageous. I think they're on their working schedule
on the
like
road.
260 days a year of work. Injured, sick, doesn't matter.
Ric Flare was just on Joe Rogan's podcast. It was his last podcast. I recommend you guys listen to it. It's fantastic. He said it's custom that they get 7 days off after WrestleMania, and that's it.
Holy
That is it.
shit.
Every other day, they are on the road doing shows, small towns.
Yeah, especially if you're the
Nonstop.
headliner. If you're the headliner, a lot of people don't realize that there are posted shows. It's just
Televised.
It's a house show, and it literally is just the show at your town the day before the televised show.
Yeah.
And as they go along, it's like, well, Monday was their televised show. Well, Tuesday, Wednesday, and sometimes Thursday. You know, if they that's like in town to town as they go from one city to the other, they're doing other shows.
Yeah.
And it's the main guys that would also be on the main show. So they're taking a beating day after day after day.
Ric Flare said that his record was he wrestled like over 400 times one year. So you do the math on that one.
That's fucking wild.
You're doing 2 days in the ring.
Sometimes,
But you know what's funny though? Like when you go back and you watch some of that older stuff, some of those guys were fantastic. Like talkers, showmen, fighters. But some of them, like the Ultimate Warrior.
God.
When you listen to his original promos, like he had it all in the ring, right? Like as far as like the body, the craziness, like he ran out and he was stomping. Holy shit. When he was talking, even like some of the announcers were like, what the fuck did he just say?
It wasn't him talking. It was steroids, cocaine, and painkillers. That's all
it was. Whatever concoction he put together.
He literally became what he was putting in his body.
Did you know that he legally changed his name to Warrior?
Nice.
Doesn't surprise me.
So what happened was
painkillers, cocaine.
when he fucked himself over out of a longer term contract because he basically was he got the golden ticket to take over for Hulk Hogan.
He was supposed to be the next thing.
He was supposed to be the next big thing, but then he started saying, well, I want Hulk Hogan merch numbers. I want Hulk Hogan through the door numbers. They're like, we just gave this to you.
Yeah.
Like Hulk Hogan was 13 years, I think they said, on top.
You got to earn it.
Hogan built what he was.
Oh, yeah. So
the Warrior tried to skyrocket too quick.
Yeah,
too quick.
And that's what they said, too. Like, what happened was Vince McMahon didn't just, like, put him over. He, like, steamrolled him over. He was, like, the first of, like, remember when, like, Goldberg came?
Yeah.
He just fucked everybody up. It wasn't like, oh, here's a 5-10 minute match. It was like 1 minute, 30 seconds, slam, 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 Goldberg. You're done, and now I'm the man.
Yeah, Goldberg was notorious for not being a really skilled wrestler. Like,
so was the Ultimate Warrior.
He was a physical, he was a physical presence.
He had a handful of things he could do really, really well.
Yeah, talk was not one of them.
Came into the ring, did those handful of things really well, and they rode that out as long as they could until it came to the point where, like, oh, he has to do a long match now. It's a pay-per-view.
Look at Brock Lesnar.
But he's not good
at the long match style.
At the 4 minute plus point. It just doesn't work out.
Well, look at Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar had Paul Heyman literally talk for him.
Right. Yes.
They're like, no, Brock, shut up, stand there, look big.
But I tell you what, though.
But there is a whole
Paul Heyman was one of the best fucking talkers in the game.
There's a whole crop of wrestlers that have had that where, like, they can do the in-ring work,
The Undertaker.
but somebody else spoke for them.
Yeah, they called them...
Rest in peace, Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer. Yeah, they were called valets. That's when you had the managers, the Bobby the Brain Heenans.
Yep.
Even Macho Man's wife was considered a valet.
Yeah.
And nobody knew that she and him were married far before they got married in the ring. Like it was a big publicity stunt.
It also wasn't the healthiest relationship.
Oh, no. There was a lot of in and out of ring turmoil.
Yeah, Miss Elizabeth. Oh God.
Yeah, she OD'd in a hotel.
Yeah, she used to do a bunch of drugs with Lex Luthor.
That's what I was gonna say. That wasn't with Macho Man, so kudos to Macho Man. He may have been a controlling scary son bitch, but she was alive.
He kept her alive.
Yeah.
He did.
But do you remember the last time I saw Macho Man? Bone saw. Spider-Man.
Now, he was on all of the steroids for that thing.
Yeah, he was.
He was bigger than I think he was back in the WWE.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't testing him to get onto a film set.
No. But I it's funny because I started watching the Spider-Mans because they hit Disney Plus. Yep. They dropped all the original Spider-Mans. I'm like, Tobey Maguire, we in this bitch. Let's go. And I have, I know we're bouncing between wrestlers, Spider-Man and shit, but William Dafoe.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
He is a great actor, man. He really killed it as the Joker. I mean, the Green Goblin.
Everyone wants him to
He
be
would be a great Joker. He would be a great.
It's a crime that he hasn't played him.
They want him to return as the Green Goblin.
I mean, he could. He's a badass, man. Like, he really killed. And he would say stupid things like, the itsy bitsy spider. And I'm like, I'm in. I'm all the way in.
Well, it's William Dafoe.
Yeah.
It's William Dafoe. He's a fucking fantastic
and it's
character.
Kirsten Dunst, the biggest bitch in all of the Spider-Man saga. I mean, like...
I liked her when I was a kid.
Yeah, okay, all right. No, I'm not saying she's not a good-looking actress, but was she not the biggest bitch in the Spider-Man movies?
Maybe.
She's like, I know you liked me since the first grade. Oh, yeah, I'm dating your best friend, but now I'm back to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, damn.
Not the strongest Mary Jane Watson.
No. I actually would have preferred if Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, would have dated the little Yugoslavian chick.
Oh, the
one that brought him cookies.
Yeah, she brought him cookies.
the Russian family next door.
Yeah, come on.
She probably had some Yugoslavian
Listen, she
trick
cares
that would've made him
about
forget
you.
about, you know.
You're gonna get the goulash.
Yeah, some goulash. Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't have to
Mary
worry.
Jane who?
He wouldn't have to worry about rent so much.
Yeah,
right,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, it'd be a lot easier life. You know?
Yeah, it definitely would have been, but he didn't show her any love.
No, he didn't. He had a fire crotch
Yeah,
addiction.
he didn't look on the looks on the inside.
No, he
that's where you fucked up, Spidey.
Damn.
No, but back to the vices. So you seen some of them as well?
I've seen some of them, yeah, and a lot of them are good. Like, there's a couple good episodes, like the Chris Benoit one. That was good. That was a good episode
was
of the
wild.
dark. I mean, it doesn't get much darker than that dark side of the ring.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that's some darkness.
But were you guys watching wrestling at that time? Like, 'cause
Yeah.
I remember watching when they did the tribute to Chris Benoit.
and then the
that
next
day.
day,
Yeah.
rescinding it.
And then
It was the
rescinding
day.
it.
The day after he died was the next show, and they did a whole show dedicated to him. And then the following day, we find out it was a murder-suicide, and then that man got erased from
Yeah.
wrestling
There's
history.
nothing.
They
There's
said
nothing.
that they literally couldn't say his name in the arenas.
No.
Like Vince McMahon was like, no. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he probably felt dumb because he did a big tribute and he was, saying how much he loved this man and everybody. He put everybody out there like in a moment's notice, only to find out the next day once the evidence really started coming out.
Yep.
Well, yeah, then
how
you found out
fucked
the
the situation
horror
was.
of the situation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean,
But
what
it
he
can-
did was monstrous.
But you know what's
So it's
worse than the act of what he did was I didn't know. I thought it all happened in like one night. This all happened over the course of a weekend.
Yeah, it was a couple days.
So
he
he-
was actually wandering around the house with the body of his
Yeah.
kid and wife in it.
So
It
he
was
he
bad.
killed the wife. The kid was still alive.
With his hands, by the way.
And then he went in and killed the kid, and he laid Bibles by each of them. And
Yeah,
then
not a good
a
situation.
day or a day and a half later, he then kills himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if his son tapped.
Jesus Christ.
I was just
He definitely got him with the sleeper.
the crippler crossface. Sorry. My bad, guys.
But you know what's
Oh,
even
boy.
crazy?
Just saying. I'm just wondering. You know?
What's really
Fuck you,
fucked up
Dad.
is the one kid that did survive, and he looks so similar to his father.
Ugh.
Like everybody in the company wrote off Chris Benoit, but then like they wrote off the family, including the son too. And here's like a young kid who his father did some horrific thing, and then they're like, well, fuck the Benoits, and
Yeah.
like
Probably the only family that he could turn to at the end.
Would have been Eddie Guerrero, people like that.
Someone
Like
in the wrestling community.
Eddie was dead at that time. So Eddie
he?
died before
Oh,
Chris
it's true.
Benoit. It was actually part of what sent Chris Benoit into
over
his
the edge.
spiral.
Oh, that's right.
But Chavo Guerrero and Chris Jericho were the only two that they said like were a part of the family, despite everybody else turning their back. They were the
Jeez.
only two that checked up, checked in. They
Yeah.
did the right thing. But Chavo probably did it for his uncle Eddie, because
Yeah.
Eddie and Chris Benoit were like better
Inseparable.
than best friends. They were
Yeah.
like brothers.
Yeah, they were like brothers.
Yeah, yeah. But it's pretty wild. I enjoy.
Yeah, that's one of the saddest stories in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's pretty bad. I mean, it's hard. I mean, Jimmy Snuka, he got accused of some shit.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one yet, but I'm
there's-
gonna go to that one.
There's some shit.
I mean,
with
a
that.
lot of
the
a
Von
lot of
Erichs.
those
The Von Erichs had
a lot of those older wrestlers. I mean, you're dealing with massive abuse to your body, not just
Yep.
in the performing, but in the things you
Substance
take
abuse.
to continue performing and just not knowing what that really does. I mean, we're only just
Long-term,
just learning like
Yeah.
what even light knocks to the head from a soccer ball does. Like, oh, just hitting the soccer ball with your head is enough to cause brain damage over time.
Over
But
and over
so
again,
does-
yeah.
So
Stepping on a
imagine
soccer field.
jumping off of the top rope night after night and smashing your head into somebody on the ground.
No.
Well, yeah, they say. I mean, they always give pro wrestling this like they're like, oh, it's fake, it's scripted. I mean, yes, the outcome may be fake, but that beating they take on their bodies is
Oh, yeah.
real.
Let's
It is
say
very
let's
real.
say you got that move down pat. Maybe only once a week you mess up and get a concussion. That's a concussion a week. You're talking 50
52
plus a
concussions here.
year. How many concussions can you get
Yep.
before reality starts
But
slipping
you know what's
away?
crazy is that Kid Dynamite was the man that Chris Benoit looked up to. And that's where he took his style from and his finishing move. It was kind of like an homage. Now, the man himself was like, don't do this move.
Yep.
It's going to fuck you up.
Your neck,
And
everything.
he didn't listen, and he went and he did it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people do say that he had some of the worst recorded CTE at the time. I don't know about now,
His brain didn't look good.
but his brain was mush. Like all the things that would keep a sane man sane were fucked up and out the window at that point. But that happens to be one of those crazy things. I haven't watched any of the modern wrestling, but
I mean, they've changed a lot of the modern wrestling. There's a lot of maneuvers that they removed. Even like chair shots, you're no longer allowed to hit directly to the head. It's always a
Yeah.
hit to the body. I mean, it's very rare that if you see it happen and they get fined for it.
yeah.
There's a lot of things that they've removed where they're like, oh, we now know that this is not good. This is going to cause a problem. We can't allow this
If
anymore.
you should watch like a chair shot montage from the WWE,
Oh my God.
it's fucking brutal.
From the Attitude Era?
Brutal.
Oh.
There were times where Chris Jericho had his head on a concrete floor, and it wasn't just once; it was 2 chair shots
Yeah.
to the head. I was like, "What the?"
They're going around in circles. Bing, 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 bing,
Yeah.
bing. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. So
One little mistake where they don't hit the floor first and they hit you first, and you can't even move.
But
Yeah.
what's crazy is like there's a lot less that I'm aware of punchy wrestlers versus boxers. Right? And
Well-
but wrestlers do kind of spread the wealth around for their whole body
Yeah.
in that
Yeah,
capacity.
whereas boxing, it's like you're literally committing to blasting that person's brains out. Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
hitting them as hard as you can over
Yeah,
and over again.
that's
And
true.
the
Not
big-
everybody's Floyd.
the
Not
biggest-
everybody can avoid the
The
damage.
biggest thing with boxing is when you take that big concussion and then you get back up. So now you know there's brain damage, there's swelling, and you're going to walk forward and eat some more shots.
That's the
Yeah.
number one argument that they say that boxing is much more dangerous than MMA.
Yeah.
Right.
Is at least in MMA you get clipped, you fall down,
That-
guy jumps on you, fight's over.
Right.
That first big knock, usually the fight ends there.
Perfect example is watch Joe Frazier versus George Foreman. Watch how many times that Joe Frazier got knocked the hell down and was tough enough to get up.
Yep.
And he's getting hit by George fucking Foreman.
Damn.
Like he's getting punched off
You-
his feet in some situations.
You can be too tough for your own good.
Which is Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
Absolutely.
What about the whole Nate Diaz signing to fight?
Jake Paul, yeah. Yeah, that's
all right.
that's the next fight.
Who do you got on this, Ian? You're our official expert in the martial arts arena. Who would you like legitimately say?
If
I mean,
Nate
my-
Diaz turns it into a dog fight,
Yeah. Nate,
I don't
you wanna
think-
put your money on Nate.
I don't think Paul can keep up if he turns it into a dog fight. If he keeps pressing forward and going at him and not giving him the chance to really like box,
Yeah.
I don't know if he could keep up with that type of a pace.
Yeah, but the thing is, the thing that worries me about it is Jake has proven himself legitimate now.
Yeah.
Like Jake went the distance,
And
and
he
he
is-
lost the decision, but it wasn't a blowout.
and he's a bigger guy, isn't he?
Yes, he is. It was a competitive fight with Tommy Fury,
Yeah.
who's a legit light
But
heavyweight.
what does
I
Nate
mean,
walk around at when he's not cutting for a match?
This is true.
I don't know. I'm not doubting Nate's toughness, his skill
Let's also
level.
admit that Nate his prime is in the.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
past.
yeah, he's in the twilight of his
And
fighting
don't you
career.
think how seriously he takes his fight would also play a factor? Like, is he taking it seriously, or is he just
Well,
going
Nate's
there
also
for
in
a
some
paycheck?
trouble right now. If you've been watching the
Oh,
tabloids,
the
Nate,
street fight.
I don't even know what
he's-
happened though. What happened?
Supposedly there's a guy that looks like Logan Paul. Don't know the guy's fucking name. Apparently, his claim to fame is he looks like Logan Paul, and he's got a YouTube channel. Apparently, him and Nate got into like a scuffle in New Orleans, and the guy got choked out in a guillotine and fell and hit his head on the pavement. So this is like a legit thing. Like the police, there's a warrant out for Nate Diaz's arrest as of today, and he's not in custody yet. But as long as he gets a fine or whatever and not jail time, the fight should still be able to go on.
Was it in lieu of self-defense, or did he just straight up attack this guy?
Don't know. In the video I saw, the guy is coming at Nate. It's a cell phone video. There's people fighting all over the damn place. A guy is coming at Nate. Next thing you know, Nate put him in like it was a guillotine, but it was like a front, like it was a weird modified. And Nate throws like a knee to his body.
It doesn't look like. I mean, the videos.
I thought it was staged. I thought it was staged till I saw the arrest warrant.
Yeah, the videos are always hard to tell because no one ever puts up the whole thing.
Right.
No. So
they put up the juicy parts.
Yeah,
So
it was a clip.
From the little bit of it that you see, you see the guy is going towards Nate, where it's like, that's a fucking dumb idea.
Yeah, so you can't argue, oh, he attacked me. You went at him.
Right.
Like, you were going at him. And also, he didn't beat your fucking face in. He choked you out.
He could have stomped the shit out of you.
Say. Yes. At his level of professionalism,
surprised he didn't.
He could have ran circles around him, beat his ass, but he chose to, hey, I'm going to sleep you, and then that's enough.
He did walk away after the guy's head bounced off the pavement.
I mean,
see, you
kind of have to.
That is always the problem, is you got to let him down softly.
Nah, he dropped his ass.
If you let them drop and they're really out, and they bounce their head the wrong way, ooh.
No, this guy fell out, and his head was back of the head right on Bourbon Street. I mean, that was... Woo.
Now,
it also depends on the laws of the state, right? Like, is it considered self-defense? Like,
I don't know what Louisiana law
is. The question, a lot of it's going to come down to what other videos surface that show what happened,
Witness
2 minutes,
testimony.
3 minutes, 5 minutes before what was going on there.
But isn't it crazy that, like, in a state like Florida, you can stand your ground and shoot somebody dead, right? For the same thing. And what he did was, let's say, we don't know the whole circumstances, he just choked him out in a situation where two men were confronting each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one could argue self-defense. We don't know all of the circumstances. I know I don't. But in that kind of a crazy scenario, it's like, hey, in Florida, you could have got shot.
Yeah.
Actually, the reality is, when it comes to stand your ground, you're better off shooting than actually fighting in self-defense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because then the person can't defend themselves in the courtroom.
You're right. Then it's not their testimony at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well, he would give his statement.
Just their eulogy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the way it works. Now, there are certain states
and then you have
that
have... after you call the police, you have to be like, I was in fear of my life.
Exactly.
Like, there's a way to word it.
There are states that have mutual combat laws where, like, hey, he's coming at me.
So good.
We are allowed to just stand here and bang if this person wants to be a fucking idiot.
That's something we should bring back. Fucking mutual combat.
Some states...
I think it would bring a lot of politeness. It would bring a lot of politeness back to the world. I promise you that.
Like you have to have a cop there to officiate. Like, be like, okay, this is mutual combat, and the cop decides when it's over.
I mean, anyone...
You're just beating the piss
listen,
out of somebody.
That's great.
Anyone would have...
okay, you're done.
Anyone with a cell phone could be like, listen, mutual combat. Are you agreeing? You want to run your mouth? Here's the camera. Agree. Let's settle it now.
Yeah, there's an officer of the law standing right there, and you guys just fucking go at it. Just
fucking crazy.
That'd be great. That'd be fucking great. That'd be awesome.
Mutual combat.
Yeah. That's right. You like instead of like you don't have handkerchiefs anymore, but you take off your shoe and like whop the guy in the mouth.
Now,
I challenge you to mutual combat.
Do you have to be a cop? Or can you be any person
or state a fireman? Like with your
well, that's what I'm saying. Anyone with a phone can record you both saying, yes, this is mutual combat.
No, what I'm saying is we could start a business. Like, we could be mutual combat guys. Like, you call us. Do you have a problem?
We just show up
Do you want mutual combat?
We show up in a referee shirt.
Fuck yeah, bro. We bring lights, right? We set up lights. We stage it. We're like, mutual
Once
combat.
there's a ring, it's an exhibition.
It's true.
Man. All right,
as long as the phone is there, you're right.
We're copywriting this business idea, so don't be stealing this shit.
That's another. I've always asked this question: like, if you get caught with a prostitute, right? You go to jail. Prostitution is supposedly illegal in a lot of states.
Yes,
but you can film an amateur porno.
Correct, sir.
Mm-hmm. And you don't go to jail. That's completely fine because it could be material for your OnlyFans or your Pornhub channel, whatever. Mm-hmm. Where does the line draw? Like
equipment, apparently, right? You need a camera.
You need a good enough camera to say we are posting this, or it is being sold as a video.
So you start a Pornhub channel, you start one, and then you just like to bang prostitutes. So you just set your phone up on the dresser. Cop kicks the door in. I was filming for my channel, sir. Where's the line blur?
Maybe there's a permit. Like for most videos and TV shows and things like that,
I'm sure there's some form of waiver that has to be signed, like anything else.
All you need is the proper documentation, sir.
I'm sure there's some kind of contract or whatever that you got to sign, like anything else.
Yeah.
I was just wondering where that line blurs, because I mean, if you're paying someone to be on your amateur channel, is that not
I
paying
think-
for
I think-
sex? I mean,
I
are you
think-
not? Is it not an agreement?
It's just like anything else. The line is the government has to get their share of the profit.
Yeah.
I think
that's
that's
right. You're right.
That's what makes it legal or not legal.
Government's
because
got to get its beak wet. That's all.
That's
yeah,
right.
gotta
That's
get
all,
my
just-
bee wet.
They just want a little taste, a little nip,
Just
a little
bit.
nip. That's all.
Yeah. No, but it's like, think about it. Weed, right?
Yeah.
Illegal. As soon as it turned legal, some of the same senators and congressmen that were
Yep.
locking people away
Open up businesses,
open
selling
up
manual
legitimate
marijuana.
businesses.
Now, what's fucked up is some of them made laws in certain states making it so difficult for mom and pop shops to open up that you have to be like a multi-million-dollar
Right.
corporation to open up.
Yeah.
And then they limited the number of licenses and all the hoops that you got to go through. So the states that did it first have the best laws around it and who can open up businesses. And the further it's got along, the more strict it's become. Where like only like 5 companies are allowed. So you see a dozen stores, but technically they're all owned by one of the 5 places that are allowed in the state.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of money, I think, to get into the weed business. But apparently, it's actually
Lucrative.
it pays. I mean, Mike Tyson's making a shit ton of money off it right now. He's got his own like ranch. And believe it, as of today, when I was listening to the podcast, Ric Flare is in the weed business now. And from what he says he is making more money off his THC stuff and his energy drink than he did wrestling.
Fantastic.
That's what Ric Flair claims.
But he needed that seed money.
Yeah. Yeah. He paid.
He
Apparently
paid
he
it off
played-
in woo.
Yeah, he paid a lot of divorce alimony payments.
Fuck, I'm sure
Like
he's
a
still
lot.
paying.
I
He's
mean,
on,
some
he's
of
on
them
wife.
women.
He's on wife number 4.
with all the money that man has made
He's a
and
legend.
lost,
Yes.
it's nice to be
Yeah.
like, okay, we don't need to see you in the ring anymore to pay the bills. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was getting a little hard to watch.
He
It was
was
bad.
the closest thing to a wrestling rock star
Yeah.
that you can say, because he
Well-
really lived that
Now,
lifestyle.
Jericho quite literally is a rock star. He
Yes.
has a band.
Yeah.
He tours, and he tours with legitimate acts.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is I think out of all the professional wrestling like big personas, only one person is that character outside, and that's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like The Rock, that's not how he is.
Well-
and like the way he acted,
Yeah.
the Brahma Bull,
Yeah.
that's not how he acts in person. So even Stone Cold,
Yeah.
like Stone Cold used to take his wife to wineries and shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He's not the Texas rattlesnake outside. Like, that's not the way he is.
From
Like,
the documentary, Macho Man was pretty close to his character in real life. Too.
pretty
They-
close. Yeah, his voice.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff,
he
but-
even talked like that. Like oh yeah, brother, and all that shit. Like the whole, like he really lived that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
almost like,
It was
Ric-
a lot of his personality.
Ric Flair never shut it off.
yeah, it becomes
he-
a little like Andrew Dice Clay. You become your creation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ric
You
Flair.
spend 20, 30, 40 years playing a character. It becomes your life.
Ric Flair said he went to a football game and he said he saw Joe Namath on the sidelines. He said Joe Namath was wearing this big fur coat and he had 2 beautiful women with him. And Ric Flair said he saw that, and in that moment he said, "That's what I want to be. That's what I want. That's who I want to be in life." He said, and then he changed his whole his whole
Persona.
gimmick, and the Nature Boy was born.
Yeah.
He said next thing you know he started showing up like with
That's
gator
fucking
shoes
wild.
and like. He said he legitimately spent all the money. As he was making it, he did like a Conor McGregor thing.
Yeah.
Like when he would get paid, he would buy a watch, a Rolex. He would buy gator skin shoes. He would buy like fucking $100 dress shirts back in the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like he would literally dress like that to get people. Like he would rent a private jet for like a promo.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
And like he would do that to look like a bad guy. And he said people hated him so much that like he became famous. Like they wanted to see him wrestle
That's
because they wanted to see him
fantastic.
lose.
That's
So,
amazing. But okay, now another wild episode was when they went to North Korea. Did you see that one?
well, Ric Flair told the story today on the podcast.
Oh, so he talked about
He
it?
told the story. He was there with Antonio Inoki and
Muhammad
Ali
Ali
went
was
along.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly, like, they wanted him to say a bunch of anti-American shit.
Uh-huh.
Like, and they were like, if you don't, we're not giving you your passport back.
They took.
And
so
he was like, what the fuck?
they
Like,
get to the country
Yep.
and they take all their passports, and they were like, "Hey, give me." These are armed guards
Yeah.
who don't give a flying fuck about
they
you.
wanted them to release anti-American statements.
Oh yeah.
And they had to word shit, like, in a certain way. And they got their passports back, and Ric Flair just said he remembers when he landed in Nagoya, Japan. he got out of the plane, started kissing the ground. He's like, never again. He's like, I'm fucking never. He's like, that's the scariest thing of his life. He's like, I'm never going. He's like, I was in a plane crash. He's like, North Korea was scarier. He's like, fuck that. He's like, no.
And not only that, like, here were some of the guys, like, all telling the story from their perspective. And, like, you got, like, legit meathead, roided up in another country, and they're like, what the fuck you mean I can't make a phone call? And, like, even then, like, he was talking. In the beginning, he was a real hard ass until they brought him into like an interrogation room.
Yeah.
Because he was on the phone with his wife and he said, this place sucks.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, like knocking on the door, he didn't know that they were listening to his phone conversation. So he said, once they brought him into this room and they had machine guns standing there, this one guy bursts in and you can't talk bad about North Korea. He's like, at that moment, I realized, oh shit. I fucked up.
Yep.
And they will put a bullet in my head if I do not say whatever the fuck they want me to say.
And there's no one that's going to save you because you're in North Korea.
You're in North Korea.
The last person that did something wrong in North Korea was held prisoner and beaten to within an inch of his life and then sent back to America where he promptly died.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
probably did
he
as a
took
lesson.
a sign off the wall.
Yep. Well, what's his name? The guy with the salt and pepper hair from the WCW. He ran it for a while.
Bischoff.
Yes.
Eric Bischoff.
He said that when he got in the car and they had like their liaison, each two wrestlers had to get into a car with a driver and a liaison.
Yep.
His liaison turned around and she said, he said, spoke perfect English. You are one of 7 Americans to have ever come into North Korea that has not been arrested and or killed.
Yep.
He said at that point in time, he realized, oh, we should have thought this through a little bit better.
Yeah, then you got people like
we fucked up.
Then you got people like Dennis Rodman that fly there regularly to party with the fucking leader. I mean, it's like, what the fuck?
And at this time, Muhammad Ali was still a bit far gone. So they were like, when they met Muhammad Ali, nobody could believe it was him. And the first thing he did was he walked up to everybody and does a magic trick.
Yeah.
They're like, he was in North Korea and they had to force him to like walk up these stairs to go to a temple to like praise one of their fallen emperors.
Yeah.
And Muhammad Ali takes off his jacket, runs to the top, and starts shadow boxing. Everybody's like, what the fuck? But this is the greatest moment in my life.
I was going to say, that's Muhammad Ali. Like I was saying, Muhammad Ali can go anywhere at any time. That's what made him.
Do you think that part of that was just like a happy, oblivious bliss? Like you just don't know how much danger you're actually in.
Or you do, and you're like, let me make sure they think I don't know.
You know what? That's a good. That
also speaks to the greatness of Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
That's like what Tyson said one time, because it was back when Mayweather was saying, he was like, oh, I'm greater than Ali. Like he was saying, Mayweather was saying, I'm the greatest there's ever been. He's like, I'm definitely greater than Ali. And like Tyson's analogy was like, he's like, Floyd Mayweather's kids go to school with armed security. He's like Muhammad Ali used to walk down the streets of Harlem shaking everyone's hand. He's like Floyd's delusional.
You're built different.
He's delusional. Yeah. He's like Muhammad was the greatest. Like, he was like, he didn't need security.
Yeah.
He could walk anywhere. And
They weren't. Nobody was testing him.
No one was testing him. No, because he was the great one. He was shit.
Well, they said the same thing about Andre 3000 from Outkast.
Yeah.
They were like, I forget, it was an actor. He was there and they were doing like a big like Billboard awards and shit like that. And he's like, all of the rappers got crazy security, crazy entourage. He walks into the hotel. Andre 3000's like sitting on the couch by himself, like reading a magazine. He's like, that's a motherfucker. That's a rock star right there.
Yep.
Like he's just, because everybody loves him.
Yep.
So I was like, you can go wherever the fuck you want, you know? So, that's a testament to Muhammad Ali, I would have to say as well.
Yeah. He's one of those dudes that superseded the sport he was in.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few outliers like that. Hulk Hogan, you have to give it to him. I think he was probably one of the greatest
Even
names
with the
in wrestling.
bits of controversy that popped up here and there.
Later.
Much later in life.
He's got on past it.
Yep. Muhammad Ali. Who else transcended sports that you think?
That transcended the sport they're in.
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, because she went from. I mean, she became like a role model for girls everywhere.
She became like
love
an
her or
icon.
hate her. She dominated. She put women's no matter what. She put women's MMA on the map.
She
did.
Like Dana White.
We wouldn't have women's MMA.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
without
and
her.
she's in wrestling, and they're saying,
And she's doing good.
they're saying that she's elevated all of the other women wrestlers in there because she brought a legitimacy
Yeah.
that they had, but not quite at her level.
Well, especially they were saying that, or at least they're talking about it today, is like her rivalry with Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Rick's daughter. I mean, like they apparently with her judo background, she transitions to the physicality of wrestling a lot easier.
Yeah.
Makes
So,
sense. It
yeah.
makes sense. I mean,
But-
Olympic athlete, MMA fighter,
Yeah.
all that shit. Like, it does add up at the end of the day, you know? So,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking athletes that transcend their sport.
Tony
I don't
Hawk?
know. Tony
Tony
Hawk.
Hawk,
Definitely
yeah.
I don't
became
think
cult
there's
figure.
a place on the earth that doesn't know who he is.
yeah.
Michael Jordan, I would say, transcended
Michael
his
Jordan,
sport.
yeah.
He transcended his sport. Because he saved, the tunes from the Monstars.
For martial arts, I guess, as a sport martial arts, Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you count what,
I don't think there's a
What he did for martial arts going into film,
He's one of the most important figures.
he
in martial
made it
arts.
explode.
You're
Yeah.
right.
and it's interesting because for as insular as many martial arts are, they all recognize him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps, yes.
fuck, 'cause,
and the bong incident.
I
Yeah,
mean, name
yeah.
another swimmer.
True.
Aquaman. Didn't think I could do it, did ya?
Well, who's the guy that was a
Namor.
triathlete that's a woman now?
Oh,
Fucking,
Bruce Jenner.
Oh, yeah. He transcended his sport
Yeah,
by a lot.
Yeah.
Shout out to
transcended a lot
Caitlyn. He
of
transcended
things.
a lot of things. Shout out to Caitlyn Jenner.
And on that note, thank you
really?
for joining us at the Sofa Kingdom podcast.
Might as well.
Where we transcend podcasts.
That's right. We represent all people.
Goddamn right. You can find us on all your social media platforms.
Sofa Kingdom OFC.
You can find us on YouTube.
Sofa Kingdom podcast.
And take it away.
I don't even know where to take us. That was a pretty good ending. Thank you for listening to the Sofa Kingdom podcast, where everyone is accepted and loved
Yeah, I think
equally.
we're gonna call this Bruce Jenner Transcend Sports.
No, we got to figure out a good we gotta hook them. It's all about that thumbnail
How
side.
about WWE goes to North Korea?
Yeah.
We could do that, and then I wish we could create like a thumbnail of like someone like a WWE star is captured, like Roman Reigns with like a fucking like AKs put to his head. People are like, what? And they click on, all we need is those dumb clicks. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Kim Jong Un.
Yeah. like us with that Ninja Turtle trailer. That's what we
Hey,
need
man.
to do to people.
When you guys leave, I'm gonna finish watching that shit.
Great, awesome.
For a 4-minute fan film.
Hell yeah.
The animation was solid. It was solid.
Last Ronin.
I mean,
You got 4 minutes of your life to spare.
Yeah, I mean it was the most prolific of all Ninja Turtle films. So
it was a turn that people didn't expect.